Y'all know who he is. Kevin Durant has been dominating defenses for as long as anybody can remember. By 21 years old, he was averaging 30 points a game and leading teams to 50 plus wins. He reached Hall of Fame status extremely early in his career. But the beautiful thing about basketball is you can be so dominant and skilled, yet still be extremely raw at the same time. Since his emergence to superstardom in 2010, KD has added strength, a post game, improved his playmaking, defense, and overall feel for the game. As the years have gone on, some of KD's regular season per game stats may have taken a hit. But let's be clear about something. His game has never been better and his impact has never been higher. He's continued to find ways to evolve and improve, and in this film analysis, we're going to focus on his playmaking, gravity, self creation as a scorer, off ball ability, and his defensive versatility. Because of how dominant he is as a scorer, I feel like almost every other area of KD's game has become underrated due to people often trying to limit his overall impact as just being a scorer. That is especially true when talking about his playmaking. He is easily one of the best wing playmakers in the league and an extremely good playmaker overall, due to his ability to lead cutters directly to layups or dunks, and due to his ability to hit shooters directly in their shooting pocket so that they can essentially catch and shoot in one fluid motion. His playmaking impact doesn't just stop there, as his scoring gravity is as good as almost anyone who's ever played the game, as he's one of the best ever at leveraging his gravity in specific situations throughout the game to create easier opportunities for his teammates. He knows due to the attention he gets as a scorer, he will often draw to, but throughout the years, he's become so good at finding specific spots on the floor where he can draw to and knows exactly who will be open and where the help will come from in advance on that spot on the court. That's what I mean when I say he's mastered how to leverage his scoring gravity. Here is a play that showcases his ability as a playmaker while also showcasing his gravity. On this play against the Pacers, the Nets are running a five-out offense with Tyler Johnson, Landry Shamet, Joe Harris, Jeff Green, and KD on the court, and the Pacers are running a zone defense. Because everyone on the court for the Nets can shoot the three at an extremely high level, the Pacers have to extend their defense. And KD sees this and goes to the free throw line extended, which is a soft spot in the zone, knowing in advance either him, one of the best mid-range shooters of all time, will either get an open mid-range jumper or the defender will be forced to help in the corner and Landry Shamet, a career 40-point three-point shooter, will get a wide open three. The defender decides to help and KD makes the pass to Shamet in the corner for three. But KD leveraged his scoring gravity against his zone in a way where either decision that he made would be great offense. Every team dreams of an offensive set ending with either an open mid-range shot for an all-time great mid-range shooter or an open three-point shot for a career 40% three-point shooter. And though this only shows up in the stat sheet as one assist, this is the type of impact that he has almost every game he plays in offensively, which is why playmaking is way more than assists per game. As a self-creator, KD has a strong argument as the best self-creator ever due to his length, shooting range, shooting versatility, ball handling, and post-game. I don't really think that it's debatable that he's the most talented scorer ever, as he's the size of Dirk with the handle and agility of a guard, with unmatched shooting accuracy from both mid-range and three while having a similar wingspan to Anthony Davis. He's a true unicorn, and there isn't a spot on the floor that KD can't get to, and there isn't a spot on the floor that he can't score from efficiently and often. His finishing has always been his most underrated attribute as a scorer. He's always been one of the best finishers in the league statistically, usually finishing at the rim at a rate of 75% or higher. And he combines that with an all time in between game due to his touch and ability to elevate over any defender from mid range, elite three point shooting off the dribble and off the catch, and some of the best footwork, touch, and efficiency that we've ever seen from a perimeter player operating in the post. This play ends up with the simple textbook KD pull up jumper from mid range. But to dive a little deeper than that and to focus on the impact and importance of elite self creation, KD's ability to be so comfortable as a scorer everywhere on the court and his ability to create off the dribble forces the defense to either adapt or concede a quality look to him every time he shoots. It's basically impossible to run drop coverage against him because of how well he can create space and how consistently he can get to his in between game. And in the playoff setting, that skill becomes even more impactful because that part of his game forces an entire defense to be unable to run a specific scheme. And though a team like the Warriors tend to go smaller and have schemes built on switching in the playoffs, if you were going against a team that's defensive scheme was primarily drop coverage, because of their inability to switch, you now have no good defensive scheme that you can counter with due to his brilliant self creation, which forces you to either give him the shot that he wants every time or run a defensive scheme that you don't prefer based on the personnel. This is why I don't see how self creation and shot creation in general can be minimized when you do it at this elite of a level. That skill often does dictate the opposing team's defensive scheme, which often forces them to run a scheme that they aren't comfortable with, which gives the advantage to the offense. My favorite part of KD's game is his off ball ability, which is what separates him from every other superstar wing in the league today and almost every other superstar wing in league history. His quick release, wingspan, and shooting accuracy help him immensely as an off ball player. But his ability to read and react so quickly to what the defense is doing is a testament to how brilliant of a basketball player he is, and he always almost makes the right play and right read off ball, whether it's as a shooter, a cutter, or as a screener. What makes KD's off ball ability so unique and adds heavily to his overall value as a player is that he's able to make his regular impact while having the ball in his hands minimally, which helps him fit with other ball dominant stars. It also helps role players who may be more dependent on a specific style of play or a specific offensive system and may be more rhythm based stay in rhythm because he's allowed to play off ball and enables them to have more freedom with the ball in their hands. Maximizes his impact about Maximizing his impact around stars and role players is just a portion of what makes him a unique offensive player. KD can fit in just fine with any type of role player and make the same impact off ball as he would if he was serving as a lead ball handler or offensive initiator. And role players around the league have seen this and taken notice, as Patty Mills himself has stated that the freedom that he would be enabled as a role player despite playing alongside stars, specifically KD, was one of the biggest reasons as to why he chose to sign with the Nets over the Lakers and the Warriors. In this cut against the Celtics, KD knows that he has a big advantage in quickness over Tristan Thompson, identifies and understands the spacing on the floor, and quickly realizes that Kyrie Irving is in the corner, so Kemba Walker is unlikely to help. And if he does help, it's an easy pass to the corner. What sticks out to me about this play is how quick and efficient his movements are, even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. As basically every move he makes on the court offensively is made with the purpose of generating a quality look for himself or for his teammates. He could have easily demanded the ball in this clip and settled for an ISO over a slower footed big, especially with the game practically already being decided. But he recognized that cutting into the open space would lead to a shot at the rim or a wide open corner three if Kemba were to help. Just with the simple cut against a slower footed big, he created a situation where his team would get the two most efficient shots in basketball: an uncontested dunk or a corner three for an elite 3 point shooter. KD's off ball ability is what truly separates him from a lot of his peers offensively, as his skill set is tailor made for any system in any era, largely because of his brilliance off ball. KD's defensive versatility makes him an extremely good defender. Rim protection is more valuable than perimeter defense, and his ability to serve as a very good weak side rim protector and shot blocker allows the Nets to run a switch everything scheme without a true big while still having good rim protection. His help defense also allows the Nets added lineup flexibility, as Steve Nash can get away with playing an offensive big with slower foot speed in specific matchups because of how good of a free safety slash roamer that KD is on the back line of the defense. So in a way, his defensive versatility also helps the Nets offensively because you don't need to have a true rim protector next to him, which allows you to create more offensive center lineups around him. I mentioned the Nets switching scheme, and KD's switch ability is extremely good. Although he can struggle with quicker guards who are masters at accelerating and decelerating, he is still more than good enough when switched on to guards, and his length and agility makes him an extremely good wing defender when engaged. People often talk about how seamlessly KD transitioned from the Thunder's ISO heavy offense to the Warriors' ball and player movement based offense, but nobody really talks about how he was also able to transition seamlessly from the Thunder's defensive scheme, where he played a specific role in the system, to the Warriors' switch heavy defensive system, while excelling in multiple roles in a switch heavy defense, despite never really playing in that scheme before. He's an extremely gifted and smart defensive player who has excelled in every defensive scheme that he's played in since he began his prime. And he plays arguably the most valuable defensive role in the switch heavy defense, which is the rim protector that can also defend on the perimeter, which is extremely valuable in the playoffs, as switch everything defenses in today's NBA gives teams the highest defensive ceiling. There is no better clip than this one that shows KD's overall defensive versatility, as he showcases all of the defensive skills required to be a high level playoff defender in today's NBA. In this clip, he switches off Andrew Wiggins onto Steph Curry, and switches back onto Andrew Wiggins and uses his length and perfect defensive positioning to block Wiggins' shot. He flashes elite quickness, rim protection, and defensive anticipation all in this clip. Simply put, Kevin Durant is the best basketball player in the world. He can fit in any offensive or defensive system ever created because of his unmatched versatility from a skill standpoint, which allows him to play multiple roles in any offensive or defensive system and excel at it. Offensively, he can serve as an on ball, high volume scorer, serve as an off ball floor spacer or spot up shooter, serve as a low post player for stretches, or serve as an offensive initiator. Defensively, he can serve as a modern switchable wing that can defend on the perimeter or as a weak side rim protector slash shot blocker. His singular skill of scoring is so dominant that even if he wasn't a great off ball player, passer, or playmaker, he would still be an all time great and top 5 player today. When you add how versatile his scoring is and the fact that his scoring isn't based on a system or being in rhythm, which allows him to be elite as an off ball player and fits seamlessly with any player in the league, and you combine that with the continued improvements he's made as a passer and playmaker, you get one of the best offensive weapons ever at his absolute peak. KD doesn't have a single weakness in his offensive game, and that's a statement very few players in league history can make. Against the Bucks, he read the game perfectly and did a great job of pacing his scoring against them when necessary. Did a great job of picking them apart as a playmaker for stretches to open up the scoring later in the game, and just showed overall complete basketball mastery as he was always a step ahead of the Bucks as far as seeing the game. It's rare that you can combine this level of IQ with this level of skill, but when you do, the end result is one of the best playoff series that we've ever seen from a single player, combined with one of the best single game performances that we've ever seen by a single player in Game 5 despite being shorthanded. I believe the gap between KD and the second best player in the world is larger than the gap between the second and third best players in the world. He's different. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Any type of feedback is appreciated. Until next time.